Yeah, thanks, Tim, and thanks everyone. I hope everyone's safe and sound. And as Tim said, we have got a really significant sort of project, but I'd like to talk to you probably today more about our Yarrawinda Brook exploration project, where we've got a pretty strong program over the next couple of months. So if we could just flip through, thank you. The next slide is just a disclaimer, which is small enough that you can't read it. So just a quick snapshot of Cassini. We're a 40 mil market cap company, ASX listed, based in Perth. Our primary project is our West Musgrave project, and that's a project that we have with our joint venture partner Oz Minerals, and it's currently at feasibility stage. We've also got a couple of other exploration companies, and the DNA of the company is very much around exploration and bringing these projects through. We're quite well funded. We've got $7 million of cash as at the end of March. We don't have any funding liability for the development of the West Musgrave project until our joint venture partner delivers a bankable feasibility study. So really all that capital is into our other sort of earlier stage exploration projects. It's interesting to note, with a market cap of about $40 million, it's about where Chalice was prior to the Julimar discovery hole, which we'll talk a little bit about because it's quite proximal to our Yarrawinda project. So they've currently got a market cap of about $350 million, I think, post a cap raise. So this is really, I guess, the opportunity, and we see very much that Cassini's got a foundation sort of valuation based around the West Musgrave project, but really provides some shareholders exploration upside, so that opportunity of a near-term increase in value around discovery. So perhaps we could just flip on to the next slide. So the Yarrawinda Brook is a project that Cassini has had. It's just north of Perth. It's got excellent infrastructure, as you'd expect, which is a bit of a change from some of our other projects, which are far more remote. Chalice had drilled a discovery hole at Julimar, which is about 40 kilometres to the south, and that was sort of late March, early April this year. We've been out there for the last couple of years. We've got a number of prospects that have had historical exploration with some good results that we're currently progressing. I think more the exciting thing for us is that we've now had a little bit of a paradigm shift in some of our exploration targeting, and that's really providing us a lot of opportunity over the next couple of months. We've got a really strong technical team. I can say that because I'm not part of it. Even though we're the minor party in the West Musgrave project, we've run all the exploration and the technical expertise around the geology. So we've learned a lot of lessons in the West Musgrave, and really we're applying them to a new sort of underexplored province at Yarrawinda Brook, or what we're calling the new North Sydney Nickel province. And I think the opportunity here is that potentially this could be an Albany-Fraser range at the start. We've seen now when the analogy with serious drilling, that discovery hole, a lot of parties coming in to spend money on the ground and really explore this area in a way that's never been done before. Just next slide, please. And this gives you some example, I guess, of the land rush that's occurred over the past sort of 3 or 4 months. So the slide on the diagram on the left is sort of just January 2020. Cassini actually pegged a number of tenements prior to or during the exploration work that we did in December and January. So we're very comfortable with our land position there. And you can see now that it's become a lot more crowded. So Cassini's got about 400 square kilometres of what we believe is sort of the most prospective geology. There's now been a big rush, but we think we're really well positioned to having had the opportunity to pick the eyes out of the available land there. Just moving on. So there's a fair bit of historical work that's been done on this project, but it's all been really targeting, I guess, very shallow platinum and palladium mineralisation. So you can see on the map there's a number of those black holes, which are really very shallow air core holes that drill to about 50 metres. So Cassini, we had an exploration program on the ground there sort of late last year and early this year, really following up some more sort of EM conductors and doing some deeper drilling, targeting more nickel and copper. And really the PGEs are really a pathfinder or a halo around some of these nickel and copper systems, and that's really the target of what we're looking for. the program that we did in January identified a new prospect, Brassica, which is about 4 kilometres from the existing mineralisation, and started to open our eyes to the really, I guess, the opportunity within the project. So looking beyond just the local prospect that had had some historical exploration and moving into a much broader exploration program. So just moving to the next slide. Really, our strategy has been to target these high-grade, massive nickel and copper sulfides. So the program we had in January, we had some diamond drilling that intersected some thin zones of this nickel-rich, massive sulfide mineralisation. Interestingly, it also intersected very broad zones of disseminated mineralisation. So the thickness and the volume of that intrusion, or that mineralised intrusion, is a really important indicator of the size of the system and the opportunity and I guess the probability of it being economic. So even though we found some higher grade zones, the system that it sits within, we think, has much broader appeal. All those zones were reasonably shallow. So most of our drilling sort of was in that sort of 100 to 200 metres. And they, as you'd expect at this stage of a prospect's development, all those remain open along strike and down dip. So just moving on. So the current program we have at the moment, we've got a diamond rig on the ground. Currently, it started drilling yesterday. We've also got ground EM crews on the ground targeting some of the new extensions, or sorry, some of the existing work that we've done, and also some of the soil sampling work that we've done. So once again, great opportunity for us to get out there and follow up some of these targets. But I think apart from some of these extensions and these EM plates that we're targeting with this program, there's also the really big significant shift is some success we've had around the soil sampling. Just moving forward a slide, it's what that's done is really, I guess, for us, be able to generate some really high quality targets. So the general view around soil sampling in cultivated land was that it was pretty ineffective, but we've now run a series of programs that shows that it is significantly effective. And you can see on the map on that right hand side of the slide there in the red dotted line, there's some significant nickel and copper and PGE anomalism, probably 10 times the amount of the background anomalism for those metals. And when you get a soil anomaly and an EM anomaly, that really does increase the priority on those targets. So we're finding it's a very low cost way of targeting and I guess providing some value for us in terms of broadening the project area and the search area. So that surface EM is currently underway, and we're expecting those results to come in over the next couple of weeks. We have capacity within the program that as soon as we are able to generate an EM target, which will help us site a drill hole, we can swing that drill rig on and look to test that target. So it's a very exciting time for us. This is all evolving. And it's good that, at the moment where we've got some restrictions on some of the places we can do exploration, we've got this opportunity close to Perth to do that. So just moving on. And this probably just talks a little to the soil geochem. At early stage exploration, it's a very cost-effective tool to generate targets. For us, it's led to detection of direct mineralisation, but also it's allowed us to detect some of these bedrock lithologies as to what is a potential mineralised intrusion and what is not. So previously, a lot of the intrusion had been mapped with magnetics. We've now found that some of the ultramafics or mafics are not magnetic and don't show up, so they're blind to the magnetics. What this has now done is shown us through the soil geochem that we are getting anomalism over areas that previously we hadn't thought were prospective. So by coupling the soils and the airborne EM, it really is a powerful tool for, and really a cost-effective tool, I guess, for examining and generating some of these targets. So just moving forwards. So the work to date, we've really been, I guess, a bit more prospect focused over small parts of the project. But as I've said, the exploration strategy has really lifted our eyes and broadened the opportunity across the entire project. We're now well underway with a very systematic approach to collecting these new data sets and exploring the package with probably a different sort of paradigm. So there's a fair bit of soil geochemistry going on. There's some EM, airborne EM programs being flown, also with some ground EM programs that are being done over specific targets. And then lots of other technical work going in that we feel will help us generate some really high priority targets for the coming program. And we're running that in parallel with the existing drilling and work that's being done on the ground now. So just moving on. So I guess, what makes Cassini such a great investment case? I think, the parallels, the market is still very interested in nickel discoveries. I think you just need to look at Chalice and look at Legend Mining to see that, if you can get a significant hit of nickel sulfide, the market is rewards that. I think, the Yarrawonda province is really shaping up to be a significant new province. We're in the right address. We've got a good land package. We know we're in the right geology. We've had a bit of an advantage, the fact that we've been there doing some work for a bit longer than some of the others. And we think some of this early success we've had and the way that that's allowed us to develop our targeting strategy will really hold us in good stead. We've got an excellent team, as I said before, a lot of experience in nickel and copper sulfide exploration. We're well funded, so all these programs are relatively low cost, and we've got a strong enough cash balance that we can progress these to the next sort of technical hurdle. We've also got some other exploration projects in gold, which we feel is a natural hedge for the base metals that we'll get to later in the year. But from an investment point of view, I think we just see that it's a very low risk investment for an exploration company. A lot of our value is underpinned by the feasibility study that's currently underway at the West Musgrave project. As that progresses, we'll see more value reflected into our share prices. The risk is mitigated and we get closer to a decision to mine. And we've got this great opportunity in the near term around some exploration success. So we really see that it's a great opportunity, and we'd love investors to come on the journey with us. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Richard. We've got a question here from an investor. On the Nebo Babel project, how does a small company like Cassini fund such a large project?
Yeah, look, I think the focus for Cassini, I guess, is realising value for that project. And the exploration is one of the strategies that we've got of doing that. And you've seen that in the sort of paradigm shift with Chalice. They were a 40 million market cap, now they're 350. So in terms of how Cassini funds as part of the project, that's one of the opportunities for us to deliver value. We've got a very supportive partner with Oz Minerals. We've got some supportive shareholders that have strong links to people who are end users of the product. So there's a range of options for Cassini, and we believe the project is strong enough that Cassini can realise value through maintaining its 30%. But I think this is where actually the exploration strategy really complements that funding strategy around the development asset.
Great, thank you, Richard.